Good evening and welcome to Slowpoke Sports, coming to you out of the shadow of Cerro San Luis, fresh out of the shine of the Sin City Strip. I'm coming right off a road trip from Vegas. Ended up being a real tight turnaround, so I wasn't able to get the other guys again. So again, just me this week. So that might be a little bit more common because our recording schedules are all over the place. It's tough to get everyone back together, but we're able to get back together on the Central Coast, at least for most of us. Of course, the big news this week, Bishop Diego at Rigetti, a game that is much expected and celebrated. A lot of people really excited for that one. Canceled this year due to COVID issues at Rigetti. Sounds like things are under control, just weren't able to get enough practices in. So Bishop Diego not going to be making their way from Santa Barbara up the coast to the best city in Santa Barbara County of Santa Maria slash Orchid. So that's a bummer, but a lot more reasons to be excited than to be disappointed this week. As I said, it's week 0 / week 1, depending on what vernacular you like to use, southern section versus northern section. Don't got any games to review. I did go to a scrimmage this last week. Mission Prep welcomed in Emmanuel as a reunion of Grace Brethren coaches, as Coach Schuster coached under Coach Henderson, who's now at Emmanuel, while they were both at Grace Brethren. It was a really amicable scrimmage as a result. Good number of people out there, probably the most I've ever seen for a scrimmage, so good on the Mission Prep community for coming out and supporting their team. Not a lot to read into on that. I'm not a big guy into reading into scrimmages. Sorry, all you people that get way into NFL preseason football, but it's just so much is servicing the people on either side of the ball, making sure that you're getting the right reads. It's important that the team looks decent. If a team excels in a scrimmage, nothing to get excited about. There are things that if things look really sloppy, you can kind of read into, but Mission Prep didn't look that way. Emmanuel didn't look that way. Two really good physical teams that I think are going to have good seasons, respectively. Obviously I broadcast for Mission Prep, so a little bit biased on that front, and I think there's going to be a lot of things to pay attention to with that team this week and throughout the year. So that's what I'll be here talking to you. I'll be recapping all the Mission Prep games I go to as they happen. But we're going to go ahead and, as we always do, go north to south, going Mountain League to the Ocean League, down to the Southern Section teams. Only one Southern Section team that's not going to be mentioned earlier yet, as we're going to be doing previews for all of those teams, starting with, on paper, one of the best matchups, Paso versus Lompoc. Lompoc going to be hosting this game down in Houck Stadium. I think this is the first time with the new field they're going to be able to, fully welcome people in. It's a little bit monumentous in that regard. Monumentous in the way that, Paso, historical powerhouse. I think that there's been years where if this had happened, you may as well just cancel all the other games happening. I don't think this is that year. I think that this is going to be a fun matchup regardless. It's going to tell us about where each of the teams are. It's going to be a close one. I've got Lompoc slightly favored in the computer. I'm going to pick them to win this game and go forward 1-0. I don't think that's going to reflect badly on the Bearcats at all. But I think we're going to start seeing some players emerge from the Bearcats to be really excited about this season. That one, again, happening down in Lompoc. I believe kickoff is going to be a 7 o'clock kickoff. It is a 7 o'clock kickoff. The only game not kicking off at 7 this week is Mission Prep. They want to get Brentwood home a little bit earlier. That will be a 6 o'clock kickoff as a result. Moving on down the coast, AG has got a game this week against Frontier. They're going to be hosting. Frontier is from West Bakersfield, and the abbreviated season last week, Frontier went 4-1. They enjoy taking these trips to the coast. The coaching staff there is, frequently found reasons to schedule Central Coast teams, in particular around AG, Santa Maria, that kind of area. And honestly, it makes sense for them. Get out of the heat of the valley. Also, I drove through Bakersfield a couple times, going out to Vegas, coming back, and the air quality not as good out there. So really good one to be hosted on the coast this week. And I really think that this is going to be a good test for AG. We saw them struggle last year with a fraction of the players uh, that they should have had. A lot of players out playing uh, baseball. A lot of players just not interested in playing football. And the computer sees Frontier as favored. I've got AG winning this game though. I think that with the system that they're running, they really don't want a lot of guys going both ways. They can avoid it. That by having their numbers back up, that AG is going to look more like the Arroyo Grande we know. I think if you read too much in that 4-1 record, if Frontier's not playing a Mountain League schedule like AG was last year, I think AG's a fantastic team. Historically, great coaching staff, high population school, which that is the number one thing that affects long-term success for a team is enrollment in the football team. So I've got AG winning that game. Moving down the Mountain League, we've got Napomo, and I think this is KSBY's game of the week. I see why. The last time these two teams played was fantastic. Grossart leading Napomo over San Ynez on an absolutely, uh, devastating knee injury that he is able to overcome. Now playing football for Cal Poly, but ended his season doing so, lifting the Titans over San Ynez. I think San Ynez is going to want a little bit of revenge on that. They're going to be going to Napomo to play this game, so a little bit of a road trip for them. The computer has a bit of a coin flip, and boy, I should have thought this one a little bit further out. I'm going to take Napomo winning this game. They've got so many returning players on that team. I think San Ynez is going to be struggling a little bit here early. Trying to replace the guys like Logan Ast and Bennett Riddell. That offensive line, if you watched the FCA All-Star game, you saw there was a lot of orange helmets down there. I think San Ynez is going to be fine in the long run, but I think coming out of the gate here with how much talent Napomo is returning, that's going to give them the edge in this game. This is one of those that you talk about what teams look like in week 0 versus what they look like in week 10. I'd love to see this get played again. It won't happen. Napomo's central section, San Ynez's southern section for now. But this would be a fantastic, let's just do 7-game series. Don't do enough of those in football for good reason. Moving on, Pioneer Valley, right across the river, is going to be going, actually, never mind. They're going to be hosting San Luis Obispo. This is going to be a big game because these are the teams that swapped. Pioneer Valley went up to the Mountain League. San Luis Obispo went down to the Ocean League. There's going to be some bitterness in that, I think, between these two teams. As a result, I think Slow really has something to prove here. Computer, once again, this will be a very even game between these two teams. I'm going to pick Pioneer Valley coming out ahead. You got Dustin Davis coming into a team that was running the ball extremely well towards the end of the season last year and just looked very good in the end of Ocean League play. Part of that's because of the circumstances it's played, but I think part of that's also because Pioneer Valley's reawakening. They are one of the schools you can point at as this is a team that pretty consistently, when it's up, has a good offensive and defensive line. If you can control the trenches in high school football, you're going to win a lot of games. I see Pioneer Valley winning this game. I just think their line's going to have a bit of an advantage over Slow. St. Joe on the road, bit of a road trip this week. They're going down to Covina, California, play Charter Oak. They're going to be favored in this one pretty heavily. Covina went 1-2. Charter Oak out of Covina went 1-2 last season in the abbreviated season. Computer has them pretty heavily favored. I don't know a lot about Charter Oak. I know a good amount about St. Joe. St. Joe, if they start out the way that they finished last year, this could be a great way to start rolling out. This is a very good team for them to get their legs under them and really cause some havoc. I will say that the 1-2 record that Charter Oak has, a little bit deceptive, because they did play they played one team really tightly, lost 15-14 on a last minute deal, and if you talk about a team that's 2-1 versus 1-2, just sounds better, and that's what we're talking about is how this team sounds. They also blew out the last game of the year. They lost 2 games to start, and then finished with a 42-13 win over South Hills and West Covina. So I wouldn't read too much into their spring schedule over just who they are in general. And I think Charter Oak, while they're a strong team, still got St. Joe winning that one. Moving down the coast, we're going to go ahead and switch over to Ocean League play. Templeton and Atascadero on byes. Only game in North County this week is going to be played in Lompoc, so if you're one of those North County people, I'd make sure you fuel up your car and get a little drive on down to Hauk, because the only North County game, if you can even call that, happening in Lompoc, and the next closest is going to be a Morro Bay at San Marcos. San Marcos, a team that has hits and misses. I think they're still trying to replace Ben Partee and Josh Brown a little bit down there. We'll see. These things turn really fast at the high school ranks. San Marcos only scored 40 points across 5 games last season, and Morro Bay, I mean, their pass defense and against spread teams like San Marcos under Goose and Brown has been very strong. The computers got Morro Bay favored. I've got Morro Bay favored. I think Morro Bay is going to start out on the right foot with a win against San Marcos. Going to be a fun one for sure. They're on the road as well. I said that that's the next closest game. It's really not. If you want to see a North County game, the closest game is still going to be in Lompoc between those, if you consider Morro Bay North County. I think the closest game actually to Paso is going to be at Mission Prep. Yeah, because Slow's going to Pioneer. So Mission Prep might be the only. It's one of 3 games being hosted in Slow County. AG, Napomo, and Mission Prep hosting games this week. Now, if you want to catch some action, and if you want to catch it early, Mission Prep's the one to see. Brentwood going to be coming to Mission Prep. Brentwood's a team that has historically, they're a smaller school, much like Mission Prep, so in that sense, it makes a lot of sense that this matchup happens. I'll say the comparables aren't great. Last time Mission Prep played teams in their league, which were Campbell Hall and Viewpoint, Mission Prep, it was like that old phrase about watching Alabama play of "hold on to your horses, boys, here come the elephants." I mean, Mission Prep's O-line just rolled over Viewpoint and Campbell Hall the last time they played. The computers got Mission Prep winning slightly. I'm going to go a little further and say Mission Prep should be pretty heavily favored in this game. I just really like what that offensive line looks like. In their scrimmage, they looked pretty strong, and the physicality of Mission Prep should be a fantastic matchup against Brentwood. That's coming from one of these smaller physically schools and smaller in number schools. So I just really like that matchup for the Royals. Of course, it's going to come down to who shows up to play. With the spread RPO type of play that we see from Campbell Hall, Viewpoint, and Brentwood, all those smaller schools in their area. If this turns out to be a shootout type game, Mission, I'm not sure will have the stamina and speed to hold up with them. So Mission is definitely going to have to control the ball and play really well fundamentally to come out on top of that game. Moving down to Santa Maria, they're going to be hosting East Bakersfield, the Blades, which, read the room, guys. That's not a great high school mascot. Anyway, they played the directional Bakersfields last spring. They went 1-2 in that play. They're in the Southeast Yosemite League. They played West, South, and North. And like I said, the directional Bakersfield, as it's West Bakersfield, South Bakersfield, and North Bakersfield, went 1-2. The offense struggled a little bit outside of their one win against West Bakersfield, where they put up 23 points. Over the next 2 games, East Bakersfield, again, the Blades. We'll just call them the Blades. Let's call them the thing that is the weirdest about them. The Blades put up 14 points over the next 2 games, allowing 17 in each. 14 points came all against North Bakersfield. So, this is a team that's not going to allow a lot on defense if they keep up what they did in spring, while producing enough to get the job done on offense is their hope. Santa Maria under a new coach, we'll see what comes to the field. I think that Santa Maria's speed and size should be a good matchup. We should be seeing a solid team. I mean, we talked about the RPO that we see with Brentwood. To get when we spread and get things going in Santa Maria, it's going to look a lot better. They do it a lot better than those kind of North LA teams. I favor Santa Maria. Let's see what the computer says. Santa Maria is 50-50. It's a coin flip according to the computer. So that could go either way. As far as matchups go, according to the computer, I think that Santa Maria's got a really good edge against East Bakersfield. We'll see. East Bakersfield's making the trip, so that also could compute into it a little bit. Final game on the slate, Cabrillo at Nordhoff. We already talked about Lompoc at Paso and San Ynez at Napomo. Cabrillo at Nordhoff, if you're not familiar with Nordhoff, they come out in Ojai, so a little bit of a road trip for Cabrillo. Nordhoff went 3-1 last season with some pretty convincing wins against Santa Paula, Carpinteria, and Fillmore. They beat Santa Paula 48-0, Carpinteria 50-14, and Fillmore 28-8. They lost to Wainimi 22-20. So, those teams probably don't give you a good picture, as it's not the type of competition that Cabrillo was facing last season. But Nordhoff is a historically formidable team out of Ojai. In fact, it's the team that Slow beat in the 2001 CIF final to win CIFs. They're a team that typically puts together a pretty strong roster. I've got Nordhoff winning this game. Peter's got it pretty big. I said last week's show where we did the season preview, that this is going to be a really big test for Cabrillo. If Cabrillo is able to keep this competitive even, it means great things are on the horizon for the Conquistadors. Of course, it's been a while since they've seen a win, so I'm not sure this is the one that you should be holding your breath for if you're a Conch fan, but I really believe in these guys that they're going to get it turned around. So that's what we got this week on the slate. There's also going to be a blue-gold scrimmage for Hancock happening on Saturday. I'll have the details from that, as well as details from Brentwood at Mission Prep. If you got any questions, anything you want me to cover going through this season, feel free to reach out at Slowpoke Sports. My name has been Stephen Hodges. It's a shorter episode this week. Nothing to recap, kind of keeps things short. So we'll keep it short, and I will see you after we got some results. Happy football season, everyone. I look forward to talking to you all.